if you've heard anything about me, you've heard that there's an Asian man running for president who wants to give everyone $1,000 a month.
2020 candidate Andrew Yang describing his platform there. He was the first person to show up at the debates that a lot of voters probably hadn't heard of. Tonight there are signs voters will be hearing from him at future debates. The DNC rules raise the requirements to qualify for the stage at the later debates. Here are the people on track to clear the 2% polling requirement for those debates. Currently, just 7 candidates, and as you see, Yang is actually one of them. Underestimate his longevity at your own peril. Candidate Andrew Yang joins me now for his first interview on The Beat. Thanks for being here.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Ari.
What does it mean that you get back out on that stage, and what is your message that's different than the other Democrats?
Well, it shows that our message is hitting home, that we have to build an economy that works for people in the 21st century. And the Freedom Dividend, $1,000 a month, would be a game changer for families around the country. So we're looking forward to not just the debate in July, but also the debate in September and October and through the fall.
You did break through with some people. You didn't get as much speaking time as others, but let's look at you on that debate stage.
You have companies like Amazon, trillion-dollar tech companies, paying literally zero in taxes while they're closing 30% of our stores. And if we had a value-added tax at even half the European level, it would generate over $800 billion in new revenue, which combined with the money in our hands, it would be the trickle-up economy from our people, families, and communities up. That's why Donald Trump is our president today, that we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs in Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin.
Is your focus, though, on bringing back those jobs you mentioned, or just giving out money?
Well, we have to face facts. So we got rid of these millions of manufacturing jobs, and retraining programs were a bust. Had success rates of only 0 to 15%. So the question is, how do we help those workers and also the workers who are driving trucks for a living and working in retail stores and in call centers that are going to close? How do we help create a path forward for these millions of American workers? And my plan, the Freedom Dividend, would put buying power in their hands and would create paths forward. It would also create over 2 million jobs directly in their communities just from having more buying power in their hands.
So you're saying it's a liberal way to put money in their hands, but it's also a stimulus. Now, you started experimenting with this sort of a DIY economic policy where you're giving out the money as an example to some people. Take a look.
That's some tremendous news for you, Mallory.
What's that?
You are the winner of the Freedom Dividend. You're going to get $1,000 a month.
It is a huge blessing. Thank you so much. I was, yes, using it for so many things, but paying bills and working on my house. I got parts falling off, and so a huge blessing.
What are you trying to say in doing that, and what do you say to critics who argue, well, okay, any candidate who just gives out money on the campaign trail is going to win some plaudits?
Well, the great thing is you have to make a policy real for Americans, where we can talk about giving everyone $1,000 a month, but then when you see it in the hands of Mallory Shannon or the other 2 families I've done this for in other parts of the country, then you realize that $1,000 a month is going to hurt virtually no one. It's going to help virtually everyone.
I look at your campaign and I see something that's really different than a lot of the other candidates. And you know, we keep it real here on The Beat. You know what's different?
What?
A lot of your ideas. I was looking at your campaign platform. We're going to put this up. Just some of them in the broad strokes. Term limits. Lower the voting age to 16. Pay college athletes. Eliminate the penny. Decriminalize opioids. Move towards self-driving cars. What brings these things together in your view, or do they not need to have one organizing philosophy? And are these things you really would implement as president, or are you trying to simply drive the conversation out to things that we don't pay as much attention to?
Well, as you suggested, I'm still introducing myself to the American people. I think the most effective way to introduce myself is just to give to people a sense of what I would do as president. And so there are problems affecting Americans in ways big and small. And if we have a solution that we think will help, like decriminalizing opioids, to try and get more Americans to have access to treatment instead of sending them to prison cells, then I was very eager to put forward my vision for the country. And I'm glad to say it's catching on.
Also, the penny is annoying.
We spend more than a penny producing each penny, and who wants to get stuck behind that person in line? Not me.
What does that tell you about the government, that we're spending more on pennies than pennies are worth? I mean, it's great. Now, will you do, as other candidates have done, will you do a lightning round with us?
Of course. I'd love to.
Let's hit it. Lightning round. Dream running mate, living or dead?
So the first thing that came to mind was dead, which
Sure.
is probably not the way the answer is supposed to go. But my political idol is Teddy Roosevelt. I'm actually Teddy
You know
Roosevelt's...
that's Elizabeth Warren's running mate?
That's
Answer
what
here
you're
too?
right?
Yeah.
So I'm actually Teddy Roosevelt's great-granddaughter's godfather, if you can believe that.
That's tenuous.
I know, it's very tenuous.
That's like,
but I'm still very, very
my dog
excited
Walker
about
had
that.
a good relationship with Susan B. Anthony. I mean, you're reaching, aren't you?
A little bit, sure.
Favorite band?
The Cure.
Favorite song to work out to?
I tend to listen to hip hop and rap, so something by Jay-Z. When I work out, it gets my blood pumping.
Recent Jay-Z, like 444, or classic Jay-Z?
Kind of older school, like, early 2000s, before we had kids.
We happen to know that you have this whole thing for holograms.
Yep.
We can put one up. I mean, you've appeared with holograms. You're into the tech. That is not a person next to you. That's a hologram of the great late Tupac Shakur. Why do you like holograms so much?
Well, we were looking at using the technology, and we still are, at having a hologram campaign in parts of the country that I can't get to very easily. And so we thought it would be a fun way to introduce people to a different sort of technology that they might not have been exposed to. But also I could be 2, 3, 4 places at once. It just seemed very on theme for the campaign to show that in 2019 we can do things differently.
And the last question, what is the Yang Gang?
Well, the Yang Gang is just the nickname that my supporters have earned over the last number of months. But I'm happy to say we've gotten over 136,000 donors in the Yang Gang, so that's one of the reasons why I'm on track to make the fall debates.
Is it cooler to say Gang Gang or Yang Gang?
Well, I say to people I'm very fortunate that I have a last name that rhymes with gang, because if I didn't, I have no idea what we'd be called.
Wow. Well, sometimes the rhymes make themselves, and that's true in music, and, if I may, that's true for nerds as well. For those of
I'll
us.
take it very gladly.
I gave it and I have it, so nerd to nerd, Gang Gang, Yang Gang. I hope you come back on the beat, Andrew Yang.
I'd love to. Thanks, Ari.
Thank you. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.